Hi, this is Grégoire from Greg's Whiskey Guide. Experimenting a new way of showing you my tastings and stuff. So I know the camera is not very precise, so apologies for that. Yeah, still learning, let's say. But this way you can see the whiskies and no, it's not a proper Highland Park review I'm gonna do for my third whiskey review in English, but rather something about batch variations, because I had an amazing experience about that, and it happened to be about Highland Park 10 years old Viking Scars. So yeah, I'm gonna talk a bit about that. But first of all, I'd like to thank you for watching, and thanks to my new followers. It's much appreciated. We're reaching the 40 followers now. It's pretty cool for a very, very young channel, though it's something that's aside from the website www.gregswhiskeyguide.com that exists for 5 years. And yeah, so there's something else coming in very soon. You know that already, but I will speak about that after the review if I have time. Okay, so let's get to it immediately. So I received a good friend of mine earlier on, a few weeks ago, and we did a blind tasting, as we like to do as usual. We're very demanding whiskey tasters, and very curious about any type of whiskey, and we like to discover our whiskeys blind sometimes when it's possible. And I really enjoyed this whiskey that he poured me blind, and I gave it a rating of 88 out of 100. But the problem is, there was this sample, by the way, and it happened to be a Highland Park 10 years old Viking Scars from 2019 release. But me, I had this, which is a 2017, sorry, bottling. So 2 years ago, I tried it. I reviewed it, not yet on the website. Oh yeah, it's reviewed on website. Sorry. And I gave it a 74 out of 100. So why such a difference? So yeah, the question is batch variations, because on this bottle you can see, and I saw the other one, which from the blind, and there's absolutely nothing except the end of the barcode that can distinguish the one from the other, while for some other bottlings of other whiskies you can see engraved or serigraphied, I don't know in English the word, yeah, well, printed, sorry, on the bottle. You can see sometimes that would be probably there, or probably there, or maybe somewhere very hidden, engraved or printed. Well, you will see usually it's a L and with some numbers after, and in theory the following number should be the bottling year, but I saw variations on different kinds of lots, batches, I mean in English, sorry. So that it's difficult sometimes to guess which is the correct bottling year. So the solution you can have is to ask the producer, providing the barcode and providing the ticket, purchase ticket, etc. But yeah, we discovered the batch from the sample was from 2019, and since 2007, sorry, you might know that Highland Park do not color his whiskies with caramel coloring for food, which is E150A. So this is the 2019 and the 2017. As you can see, it's exactly the same color, but we also know that Highland Park uses what they call cask oh my god sorry, that's it. When you go live, when you do a video, that's the problem. Well, sorry. Well, to put a long story short, they adjust cask adjusting, something like that. So they adjust the color by putting casks that are a bit more charred or a bit older or something like that, so they can match the color of the previous batch. But in the problem we have here, it's not a question of color, it's a question of taste, and the taste is drastically different. We're gonna take the 2017 first, because the 2019 is way more smoky. This one's almost not smoky. I have the review here with my own criterias, which is a bit difficult to explain, but they're on the website, and I can see that on the nose actually it's very light. It's first sniff, it's almost non-existent, and then again very quickly, even if there is some green note, if there is some let's say baked apple, stuff like that, there's honey, but not the signature head honey from for instance, the 12 years old, the regular 12 years old, which I also poured here 3 versions of the 12 years old. I explain that later on. So yeah, not much things going on the nose. Now back to the sample of the 2019. Wow. Immediately it's obvious. There's the mixing of the the mix of the heather honey notes with the smoky notes, light but more present than in the other one. Got dried fruit as well, a bit of dark chocolate. There's something a bit leafy as well, some mushrooms. Black tea. Okay. I'm gonna sip now the first one. It's the 2017. I put some marks to be sure of it, what I'm doing. Yeah. It has evolved since I opened the bottle. It's less bad than it was. There's some fudge caramel coming in, but that sounds more natural to me than before, where it was really like it was added sugar and plain artificial caramel, which we know there isn't, but it was a very strange sensation. In France French, I would say sucre résiduel, so what is staying, remaining of the sugar after the distillation that is not supposed to be there, but it's an impression of sugar, a bit burnt sugar if you like, and it's not very pleasant in your regular Highland Park. Okay. Yeah, there's a slight winey note that suggests there might be a tiny part of the blending which could come from sherry casks. Probably refill, of course, even refill sherry casks, probably second or third fill, and just I would say 20–40%, not much more. Okay. Always have water when you assess whiskies, especially if they're different. And okay, moving to 2019, the sample. Thank you very much, by the way, my friend Hugh. Oh my god, this is so much better. Wow. I have everything that's that sets apart Highland Park from the other malts here. The complexity with them, you know, the heather honey, which is a signature. You have the, you know, dark chocolate on the back. I have also, you know, kind of violety, lavendery, very tiny notes. It's not overwhelming at all, but it adds to the rest. I have the candied fruit, I have dried fruit, I have apple, pears, and apricots, and all this is very melted together. It's also the signature to melt everything, flowers, green notes like tea, bergamot tea, Earl Grey, and also you know, some floral notes. You got slightly maritime notes as well, you know, sea spray, but very tiny, less than in a Talisker. And there's light caramel, but it's very, very subdued, very, very discreet. Pretty complex stuff, and I understand why Serge Valentin gave it a 90 out of 100. For me, it's still a bit shy. It lacks a bit of the ABV, even if the same ABV but 2 years more for the 12 years old makes it something better for me. That is very good, and frankly nothing to do with the other one. Almost nothing to do, of course. I'm gonna try the two with a bit of water now. Well, these are quieting a bit, melting with the water. Well, let me just tell you that earlier on, it's a parenthesis, sorry guys, my followers on Twitter voted for Compass Box Affinity, you know, the new Compass Box that's a bit experimentally mixes Scotch whiskey cask with Calvados French casks, which is very unusual, and they asked me to review it in French as well as English, so it will be my two next reviews within a week. Okay, also I'm gonna speak quickly before I forget that apologies for being a bit late on my written reviews on Greg's Whiskey Guide, but there's a lot of things coming in, so I'm trying to put an order to it. There's a huge tasting, you know, you say rundown in English, I say vertical or horizontal, about Compass Box, because I got a lot of samples that are late to be reviewed, even for some years. So I'm gonna do a little retrospect. I'm gonna also do something about my Dutch samples that waits for years. It's a shame as well. I apologize. My good friend Govert, who provided me all of them. I will also review some ball blares that came lately, thanks to my good friend Chris from France, who may know him as Colderac in Twitter. Other things coming from other YouTubers, such Alan, such Ben, will be reviewed. Ben Whisky Geek, Alan from Whisky Friend. Also got a absolutely stunning set of samples from Loch Lomond groups. So there are going to be some Glen Scotia, Loch Lomond, and even something else very special, Gelateral. Okay, getting back to the 10 years old Highland Park, which his nickname is Viking Scars, with these boxes with a lot of Viking stuff. Yeah, very glossy, very a bit OTT for me. I like Viking folklore and that, but there's everywhere around the bottle. They could have been more sober. Okay, that's it. We're in a move of changes of packagings. Could be another topic of mine. Okay. I'm now with the 2017 Viking Scar 10 years old. Back with a bit of water. Okay, we have now a bit more of floral notes coming in. You know, the slightly violety, slightly lily in the valley. It's more pleasant now. Then again, very melted, so difficult to point out something more than another. Of course, I know there's honey, caramel. Okay, let's try it on the palate. Okay, there's a slight improvement, but it's getting a bit watery as well, which is, even with a few drops, shows that we're not at 43 but at 40, and now a bit less. Doesn't deliver much because, like I said, it's a bit a sanitized version of the 12 years old and of the other version of the 10 apparently. So it's not bad, but it's very average in my opinion. I tasted this twice already. First note was absolutely terrible, 66.5 out of 100, because there was only sugar and caramel, and burnt caramel. It was absolutely awful. Then after a few weeks it got more interesting, so I rated it 74. But honestly, I don't see it now at a higher level than this. Yeah, that's forgot to mention malted barley. Yeah. Okay. So we're not gonna make much more of this. Trying to not make it too long, but okay. So I'm now in the, back in the sample of 2019, the same Viking Scars Highland Park, but a sample of a bottle, fresh bottle, almost like the same level that a friend of mine brought me a few weeks ago. Okay, so there's a little water in this one as well. Instantly, yeah, you know, by the smile of my face, You see the difference? It's also a bit under 40 because of the water, but not much. But it has more to tell. Much more to tell than the other one. In terms of complexity, but expressivity, I got more honey, heather honey. I got more, a little more smoke. I got, difficult to explain. I will say it has more charm. It has more completeness. It's more complete, let's say, than the other one. It has something that reminds me of the old 18, but well, okay. So to sum up, it's more complete, it's more complex, and it's more satisfying than the 2017 batch. So so that's it for the 10. So we know that there might be batch variations within a small period of time, 2 years, not much. The new version is here for more than that. Previously, the 10 years old was called the Ambassador's Cask, and it was 35 CL travel retail only. Some reviewers didn't like it already right from the start. Others they did like it. It divided opinions, and it doesn't seem that the recipe has changed a lot. I can't tell more about it because I don't know. But what I can say is that usually it's the other way around. That is, the 2017 should be better than the 2019. But as it's the contrary, go for it, folks. That's all I have to say about it. Okay. Now, I thought it was interesting to continue a bit this exploration by trying several 12 years old batches. As I had some Highland Parks in my collection, I'm happy to have many that were not recent, but I will be happy to have some recent if I like them. I recently found the full volume. I'm happy I forgot to bring it here, and the Valkyrie, and I'm happy to have them. But we're gonna move to 2013, 12 years old. This is an end of bottle, which normally I do not review, but I did review it, score it, etc., etc. So it's not, we're not gonna go into details of the score now because it would be too long. It's just to give you a few impressions. Though I have reviewed it way before tasting it, not like. And this, it's getting a bit of a mess, I have to say. And this is from fresh, but it's not so fresh as it's 2013 as well. But it is the 2013, sorry guys, Christmas edition. Comes with a metal packaging. Metal packaging, okay. And I put some older bottlings in there, and I poured only the 12 because it's going to be too long. And some of you will get out before the end of the review, I'm sure. Wow. This is something else, really. This is much more expressive, even at 40, like I said. You got the heather honey, but you got also green and Earl Grey tea at the same time. You got a slightly tobacco note. You got citrus. What strikes me compared to the 10, this is more citrus peel than in the 10. And also some kind of orange sherbet. Pretty pleasant stuff, I have to say. You know, it's when I want to know if I'm okay, my palate, my nose, to try special things or to do a proper session, I always begin with a Highland Park 12 to see if I'm in a good condition, as long as it's a good batch. Oh. So yeah, it's 2013 bottling, around 30 euros. Well, you know, the new 10 years old is almost higher priced. The signature smoky note is really deep inside the malt, and you got a caramel, but natural caramel, malted barley. You got a violet-y, tiny violet-y lilies. You got the citrus fruit complex note. You got everything to make an all-rounded drum, like Michael Jackson said. Michael Jackson, the whiskey and beer reviewer, rest in peace, not the singer. And there were two singers, by the way, one from a metal band and soul and pop, one everyone knows. Okay, so this is without water. Usually I review, I taste and review, taking a way more time, and I will never review in front of you something that I didn't take enough time about, except if it's for a challenge or something special with guests, or I don't know. But so you have to know that every one of these whiskies has been reviewed and assessed properly before the video. And then this is a metal box edition. Yeah, more sanitized once more melted, but it's still the signature of the 12. Something I forgot to mention is the buttery, something buttery with comes with the honey, with the heather honey note. With a tiny note of coffee. Yeah, the difference between this one and the other one, the other 12, is very light. It's not as striking as the 10 years old. Well, I won't, it's, we're approaching 30 minutes, so I'm not gonna put water in it. I know it's not a big difference. I have tried it before, so I want to keep it under 30 minutes. Last sip will be with the older 12 before 2007, and the older 12 years old guys like the older 18. Has E51A in it, and despite that, as for the 18, the old 18, for me they are better than the new ones, because, and I know that for a fact, having interviewed stuff from Highland Park, and I wrote it on my website, it was another time. The demand was less than after 2007, so that the content is not only 12 years old, it has some older casks in it. And for the 18, I'm almost sure they're 21, 25, and maybe more older stuff in it. So it makes, as an amateur blender I know it makes a difference in terms of depth, in terms of complexity, and if the casks are well chosen, it brings something really greater as an experience. So I'm gonna finish the review with the old 12 years old, which is something of a treat. One of the early single malts I have in my discovery of whiskey around 1999, 2000. One of my first purchases with the Scapa 12. And of course blended whiskies and blended malt. Yeah, it's unique. The smoky is deeper integrated even than the recent 12. I love the recent 12, and please go for it, don't get me wrong. But this is something from another era. Yeah, there's more green notes in it, there's more leafy tobacco stuff in it, and there's more, definitely more maritime notes. You know, Orkney is a group of islands, so at some point you will get some salt in Scapa, and there you will get more. I think more sea spray, more maybe some seaweed, but I don't feel it very much in this. In some batches of the old 12, yes. Wow. Amazing complexity, amazing charm, amazing refinement. It's not so different, but like it was something older than 12. That's what I said also, and something more serene, more settled. And yeah, the flowery notes, the fruity notes, there's something bigger than the age. Okay, so we're running after 30 minutes, so I'm gonna stop this and say thank you very much for watching Slanjava, and I hope it was interesting for you, and if you like it, please put a thumbs up. If you don't know the channel and the website, subscribe and have a look at the website. All the links are below in the front page, and see you very soon for the review of the Compass Box Affinity. Bye bye.